Friday afternoon, Inside the Bubble. Kim Bokamper, Joe Rose, the Audible is on the air. And, Joe, it's quite a facility in here, man. You know?
This ain't bad at all.
No. It's a pretty nice little thing right here.
This is a heck of a matter of fact, we need to use this more. Not the Dolphins, but
no, us.
Us. It's nice.
No doubt about it. All right, Joe, here we are. It's come to this. We got the Denver Broncos coming to town Sunday, 1 o'clock game back at Hard Rock. I think, Joe, this may be, unless I'm wrong, this may be the first back-to-back home games that the Dolphins have had this season.
I think you're right.
Because we got Denver this week. We got New England coming the next week for Monday Night Football. I think this is the first time that we've been home back-to-back weeks all season long.
It's been a very strange schedule from missing Tampa Bay to playing a home game over in London. Yeah, it's been weird. This whole thing has been strange.
This season has really been. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they kind of brought up. They go, "Man, it's been a weird season. All the stuff that's going on, and this and that." And I'm going, "Yeah, it has been." I go, "I've been around a lot, and I've never seen one quite like this." Yeah. And not to, not like, again, I always try to preface it by saying not to make excuses or whatever, but it's been a bizarre year, and it seems every week something else. Now you got Matt Moore. He's out for the game on Sunday, so that means that David Fales will be the backup quarterback to Jay Cutler, who just came out of the concussion protocol during the course of the week. He'll start. And Joe, the other thing it's hard for me to believe, and I really find this hard to believe, you got Denver coming to town. They've lost, 7 straight games. Paxton Lynch is out. Trevor Simeon's in. Aqib Talib is out. He got suspended. They've got a new offensive coordinator.
You could make all this up
Hard
for
Rock
both
Stadium,
teams.
And the Dolphins are 1-point underdogs.
Yeah, at home.
At home.
At home against a team that's struggling. I'll tell you why. Because I thought that was weird. And you look at all the numbers and stuff. Weird. Denver's got the number 3 defense, and that's the only thing I've seen. Yeah. One of their best players, as you just mentioned, is out of this game.
But they still got Von Miller. They still put pressure on the quarterback.
They got some really good players.
Yep.
Bo, I'll tell you what. How about this number? Of all the numbers as you get ready for these games, they got the number 3 defense in the NFL, and they're giving up 25.5 points a game. That's how many times their offense has turned the ball over in bad field position for the Denver defense, which, by the way, showing their frustration in the locker room earlier this year, talking about, man, you guys got to help us out. This is ridiculous.
It's too much, yeah. Well, and now they got, I guess of their 3 quarterbacks, Simeon may be the best guy, but they've all struggled out there for those guys. And you talk about Aqib Talib being suspended in that whole situation. So there's another guy out, but I don't know. It's just it's one of these games, Joe, that I don't care what's going on. This team needs to find a way to win this football game. They just need to go out. They need to forget all the things that are swirling around them, because I don't know about you, but everywhere I go, I mean, people are just down, man. They're just, and I'm not saying they're down and they're saying this or that about the team. They're disappointed. I think like everyone else, there was optimism about this football team. And right now, unless you go on a magical run here and win every one of these games and get some luck, have some luck come your way, really there's the playoffs are kind of a pipe dream right now for this football team. So I can understand the apathy. I can understand people being a little bit down and depressed. I'm down and depressed about it, but it's a tough. And look, you can't win 5 games if you don't win the first one. Right. And I understand the coaches, and I understand the players and their attitude that, hey, it's win one game, we'll see what happens after that. But damn, Joe, they got to win this damn game.
If you're 4-7, I started Monday morning on the radio. If you're 4-7, everybody is up for criticism. Yep. Everybody from the top right down to the coaching staff to the players, with the mental mistakes, the penalties, the turnovers, all the things that have taken place with this team. And both for me, even with all those numbers, the most disappointing thing is you lose to Tampa Bay and Oakland, and I think right now neither team's that good.
No, and look, those were winnable games that you basically gave away by shooting yourself in the foot through penalties, through turnovers, all the things that caused you to. But anyway, that's where we are. Yeah, so you look at the situation. So Kenyon Drake, really your one healthy guy. They just added Devion Smith, the running back out of Michigan, to the 53-man roster. And I know Sonoris Perry's still in the concussion protocol, but he's practiced a little bit. who knows if he's going to be ready for the game. So you got a depleted running back, a running game situation there. And for me, I'm kind of interested in seeing if Kenyon Drake can be the guy and can carry the load.
Said that.
We had James Walker on the other day from ESPN.com, and we talked about it a little bit. And to me, what I need to see, it'd be interesting to hear what you have to say. What I need to see out of Kenyon Drake is, he can break the big run. He's got the ability to get to the second level, but I need to see him on the every down play. Right. Instead of getting negative 1 yard. He's got to get 2 and 3 yard chunks, 4 yards every now and then. He's got to prove that he can be an every down back that gets positive yards on virtually every down. I'm not talking about 6 or 7, but you'd like to see him on first down get 3 yards. Instead of starting in a situation where it's 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 9. Like I said, he's going to break a big run if you give him plenty of carries.
No, he can run.
But you got to keep it consistent on the other carries.
I will give you another part for Kenyon Drake, because this is a great opportunity for Kenyon Drake right now. He's got 5 games to show what he can do. Don't look over your shoulder. You're not the third guy. You get a chance to really shine on first, second, and third down in these last 5 games. But I'll give you another part of Kenyon Drake that's been the knock on him for a long time.
Hold on
Can
the ball,
you stay
man.
healthy too?
Well, stay healthy and
you got to hold on to the ball.
He's left
the
the
2
ball on
fumbles.
the ground a couple times. Yeah,
he's out of cards there.
Yes,
to get out of jail on the fumbling.
Well,
that's it.
Look, I mean, you look at where we're at now with Davion Smith, with Sonoris Perry potentially being back, concussion from the concussion protocol, maybe not coming back. He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
I mean, Kenyon Drake doesn't have much of an option not to stay healthy in this season for the rest of this season. We'll see if he can do it.
Are you with me now? Because I want to win this game. I do. You got to beat the Broncos. I want to see more guys play like go out and have like Rashad Jones last week was unbelievable.
Yep.
Had a great game.
Yep.
The tackles he made getting in the middle of screens and one-on-one, if he doesn't make them, New England's off and running. I want to see more performances like Cam Wake.
Yep.
Didn't talk enough about that effort at defensive end. Got a sack, but had a lot of pressures. Knocked Brady down a bunch. It really got after it.
Yep.
Well, we got to have more. We got to have more individual dominant performances where we're talking about after games. Man, we lost.
And quite frankly, Joe, on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
Not talking about just the defensive side. Offensively, guys need to step up and make plays. If you're a receiver, get yourself open, present yourself to the quarterback so he can throw the football to you. Offensive line, everybody's got to go out and play over these next 5 games. They got to find some way to dig in and find the best they've got and lay it on the line over these next 5 games.
Even if you're playing for nothing here pretty soon, still want to see guys that care enough to go out and want to impress and like, hey, I want to be back on this football team. I'm not throwing in the towel.
Yeah. Kenyon Drake, will he be used any differently in this game? I don't think you. Well, I think I tell you, Joe. One of the things one of the things that was really disappointing to me last week during the game is early on in the game they came out. I think it was maybe the first series. They came out 3 wide. Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams in the backfield. I'm going, man, this is nice because you got 2 running backs in the backfield. You can do a couple different things in there from a running game standpoint, but you can go to it's like having 5 wide receivers out there. They'll put those guys in the routes, have your receivers in the routes, and I only think they did it once or twice. Someone got hurt or whatever, and they kind of blew that off the map. They couldn't put the tight ends back on. But I was really interested in seeing how that lineup was going to look with those 2 guys in the backfield at the same time.
Well, because you can do so many things. Like you said, it's a mismatch because they're both really good pass receivers. Get them isolated one-on-one against their linebackers like, by the way, they did against us in that game down in the red zone.
Yep, no doubt about it. So, it's that was one of the things. But, look, I think Drake, you use him, you run the football with him, you throw the ball, you do everything that you've done since he's been in there. And you do the same thing you would do with him in there that you would do with Damian Williams.
Right.
Both kind of interchangeable with what they do.
Totally
different guys, different kind of things. But certainly you can do those types of things. Hey, the other thing, Joe, coming up this week at the game is halftime. Jason Taylor, a chance to honor him. He gets his. I think he's already got his Hall of Fame ring. I think, but
he's Hall of Famed.
They're going to present it to him. Yeah, they're going to present it to him at halftime. I know they got a big event tomorrow night at the stadium before that, and then at halftime they'll present him with his Hall of Fame ring. And I think it's congratulations to Jason Taylor, certainly well deserved. We talked about him in the Hall of Fame before, but I think it's going to be nice for the hometown fans, and hopefully they fill the stadium up tomorrow and really give Jason a good send off at halftime.
Well, he was unbelievable. But we talked about this morning as well. We got 3 retired jerseys on offense.
Yep.
Bob, Dan, and Larry Zonka. Is 99. Is he deserving of potential? Now, listen, I always hate when we do this.
Yeah,
and you're giving me that look because you're giving me that undefeated guys on that defense look.
The first thing that pops into my mind is you got a guy in Nick Bonacani who's a Hall of Famer himself. Who was the guy, the main cog in that no-name defense, a team that went undefeated, still the only one in the NFL. Went to 3 straight Super Bowls, won 2 Super Bowls. That's a coin toss right there.
Yeah.
But Jason, I mean, you look at Jason's
unique player. I know he didn't win championships,
but Jason's numbers are so far off the chain from everybody else, from sacks to interceptions to touchdowns to fumble recoveries. The one thing I think about Jason when I kind of go back over the inventory, and I had someone called me about him for some article 1 week. I said, the funny thing about it was, I always put, everybody. I'm sure everyone's like me. You put JT and Zach together, 2 peas in a pod, right? Kind of came out one after another,
right?
And they're kind of tied at the hip in a lot of different ways. But early on, you thought that Zach might be the guy that has that, Hall of Fame type career or that type of player.
He's had damn good career.
Awesome career. Early on, and Jason was kind of, a notch, maybe a step behind Zach in the hierarchy. Because on that defense, you still had, you had
Sam and Pat.
Tim Bowens.
Tim Bowens in the middle.
You had kid that came from Chicago, the players.
Awali Ogunleye?
No, Awali Ogunleye.
Trace
Armstrong, who was a big influence on that defense. You had a lot of guys on that defense.
All those guys made a lot of money playing on the other side.
They did. So Jason was kind of in that pack.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he kind of caught up with Zach, and then he kind of left Zach behind because he just the ball. And I don't want to say this the wrong way. He was always around the football. Either the ball liked him or he liked the ball. But when the ball was out there, it seemed to be Jason was either right there for it or it came to him. Or and some of those guys have the knack. And Jason was one of those players that had the knack
especially
of always being around the football late in games,
when you needed
making
a big
plays and turning a scoop fumble into a touchdown, turning an interception into a touchdown. I mean, he made difference-making plays, and I think, like I said, I think he was a little kind. I think. Look, when you say you're behind Zach Thomas a little bit, that certainly is not that's not to be ashamed of by any stretch of the imagination.
No, Zach Thomas, one of the top defensive players
ever. But he eventually just kind of kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going and put up such huge numbers.
Had a sexy position.
Yes.
Sacks, pressures, fumbles, touchdowns, all sexy.
And it's funny, during his career, it was when defensive ends became sexy, right? Reggie White, you had guys like Jerome Brown, some of those guys, that became.
Both seems like over the years, sacks have become really sexy along with interceptions. Well,
Joe, you look at back in the day, and I forget when they started, but I know when early in my career, they didn't even count sacks. Yeah, there was no count. You didn't keep track of them.
Right.
They had them.
I don't ever remember talking about killer B defense
how many sacks, this and that, yeah.
Or pressures.
Right.
When they start the pressure thing.
Well, it's funny.
It's on quarterback.
I was talking to Bob Greasy on the way home the other day, and we were talking about the game against Pitt, and we're talking about how many times had the ball batted down. Right, Rozier had the ball batted down a bunch of times. Then they brought in the kid, the backup. He had his first 2 passes batted down, and so we were talking about, and Bob as a quarterback was talking about, I used to hate when guys would come in, and I'd go to throw the ball, and you knew they were stalemated, but you knew they were going to go up in the air, and I had to try to throw the ball around them or find a way or this and that. And I said, funny you say that, Bob, because during my career, if you batted a ball down in our meeting room, if you batted a ball down, you kind of got bitched at because it didn't mean it meant you weren't getting enough pressure. You weren't getting deep enough in the
Wow.
backfield.
Damn,
you know?
I never even thought of
I
that.
remember,
right.
I mean, you look at guys now, they bat a ball down, everyone's high-fiving them.
Right.
With our team, you batted a ball down, everyone kind of looked at you and turned it.
Yeah, you got
turned their
blocked
head
so
away.
much,
you got
you
blocked
finally
so much,
just
you
looked
you
at
couldn't
it.
get off the line of scrimmage,
Yeah.
so all you could do was
Yeah.
bat the ball down. But it shows you the difference in the thought process. Like for us, rushing the passer. If you had contained, you always had to keep contained. You always had to keep contained to make sure that guy didn't come out. But then it got to the point where pass rushing became such a big thing. Putting pressure on the quarterback became such a big thing. It was like, I don't give a shit about contain.
Right.
Just get to the quarterback.
Right.
Get disrupt. So then guys are spinning. Right.
Sure.
They got the spin moves going. We couldn't spin. Our coach wouldn't let us spin. You made a spin move, and you guys, I don't ever want you to turn your back on the quarterback.
Right.
Right?
Know where everybody is.
It's changed so much differently. And Jason was really one of the guys that took it from one level and really accelerated it to a different level.
And I think he's the first to tell you he'd take chances.
Yes.
If he thought he could get there,
Yep.
he might let one of his buddies know, like, hey, I'm not containing.
Yeah, be ready.
I'm going for it, so have my back here. Because if I don't get there and you're not there, this could be a big play for them.
Yeah. Yeah, but I tell you, it's an interesting question when you talk about Jason Taylor and the Dolphins and retired jerseys on the defensive side of the football. You know, I think you only got 2 Hall of Famers on the defensive side of the ball, right?
That's right.
You got Jason.
That's
and
crazy.
You got Jason, Nick Bon. Yeah, that is crazy.
All the teams that played in the undefeated teams in the 80s and those players. And
so tell me, if you look back at the Dolphins' history defensively, players that you saw play that you think should be or could be Hall of Famers
on defense?
Yeah. There's one guy jumps to my mind like
Jake Scott, Dick Anderson.
Jake Scott jumps to my mind immediately. And Jake's problem is Jake was such a hard ass that, Jake kind of gets into the Mark Clayton situation, right?
Yeah.
Your off-field persona, the way you treated media, some of those types of things.
Or not just certain coaches go, well, that's not going to work. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen a coach put on a board for us. And then tell the guy, explain why it wouldn't work to the point everybody put their head down.
My rookie year when I came in, we had a defensive coordinator. Bill Arnsbarger had just left to go to the New York Giants. And we had a defensive coordinator. His name was Don Dahl. I was a rookie. I didn't know nothing from nothing. I barely had been in meetings. At San Jose State, we didn't even have very many meetings. It was just go out, line up, and play, And so I'm sitting in there one time, and we're installing a new defense. So he puts a new defense up there. And I hear in the background, that shit's never going to work. I'm like, what? and the coach goes, and Don Dahl goes, what? And he starts running. He goes, that shit's never going to work. Who said that? And Jay goes, I said that. Right?
Yeah, he didn't back down.
He didn't back. He said, hey, I said it. He goes, well, what do you mean it's not going to work? And he says, well, you realize we play the Baltimore Colts twice a year, right? They got Roger Carr over here, and they got this guy over here.
He broke the whole thing down.
They got Lydell Mitchell here, and they got this guy, that, and then if we run this coverage. Who's going to cover the back on a check down? And the coach looks at the board. Looking back at Jake, looks at the board.
We'll talk about this later.
We're going to get back to this tomorrow. Right? Next day, he walks in, he goes, we ain't running that defense.
That ain't gonna work.
We ain't running that defense.
How smart
But that's
was
how
he?
smart.
Yeah.
So him, you mentioned Dick Anderson is another guy that you would look at as being kind of that type of a guy.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to get past Manny.
Bill Stanfield and Manny Fernandez.
Great. How about Manny Fernandez?
Oh, my God.
How many tackles did he have? Not in
like
one,
17 or 18 in one Super Bowl game.
I have never heard of a defensive tackle having 17 or 18 tackles. Yep. Linebackers, safeties, I have never heard.
A nose tackle.
Tackle.
Getting double teamed every time, all that stuff, and still, it was phenomenal.
Hey, Manny, you're right. For everybody didn't give you enough credit, you are absolutely friggin' right.
Everybody that plays on that football team gives Manny a ton of credit. A lot of credit. No doubt about it.
But then I go right to Zach and Jason.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Zach, who's got a zillion tackles. By the way, and that's the other thing. Like Zach Thomas is sitting there with a zillion. I looked it up one day. He's got a zillion tackles. Yeah. Nobody ever talks about tackles.
No.
Tackles, who cares? Had 150 tackles, had 180 tackles, had 200 tackles. Okay.
Well, how about we had him on the
tackles
program
not
last
sexy.
year. Steve Toll, guy that I played with.
Yeah.
Right? Steve Toll still holds the record in the National Football League for the most tackles in one season. I want to say it's like 280. So it's a ridiculous number.
Stupid.
Some ridiculous number. But he got that number in 14 games and still holds the record for most tackles in one season.
Oh, you're talking about 15, 16 tackles a game.
It was crazy. I mean, he's a true middle linebacker. You know, when that 3-4 true middle
There's
linebacker.
A name, except for he's your roommate, a name you would never hear where people come up and go, who's Bo talking about? Who's this Steve Toll guy?
I know. No, I tell you, he was one of the.
I got to see the shit show. He was good.
I'm gonna tell you what he was when I first saw, and he was a fun guy, nice guy, quiet guy. You know, not for nothing, but when I first met him, I thought he was a little bit. I'm not sure about this guy. He's pretty kind of sweet looking guy. You know, had his hair combed just the right way.
You weren't real sure.
Was nice as could be, and I'm like, hey, he's just a real nice guy. I don't know how he can be what kind of football player. And then I played with the first game I played. I go, oh. Well, that's who he is.
Yeah, he could play.
Yeah, he was a beast, no doubt about it.
We had a bunch of those guys on that team.
So, it's an interesting question. But anyway, going back to the beginning of it, Jason Taylor at halftime. If you're at the stadium, make sure that you stick around your seats at halftime because I think they're going to put on a good show. And I'm sure Jason will have something to say that's going to be inspirational and make everyone feel good about it.
And by the way, how about JT before he even gets to that? And everybody goes, that'll be a fun weekend. He's going, no. St. Thomas Aquinas up playing Venice.
That's right, yeah.
Tonight.
They go up to Venice.
They go up to Venice, who's got a really good football team, one of the best teams they've had in a long time, 3 hours up the road. And so he's got
coaching up.
He got coaching up, see if they're going to a state championship again, and then he'll come back.
Well, how about that? So he's got his Hall of Fame stuff. He's doing some broadcasting. He's coaching high school, and I think he's coaching youth football, too.
I think he is, too.
My man's got a load.
Oh, no, he's giving the kids a lot.
Yep. How about this Facebook from Palmer? You can't spell golden without Leon. Where does that come in? I know Leon didn't even show up today. You notice that? No Leon today?
I haven't seen Leon the last couple weeks.
Leon just takes
Leon didn't travel. He missed a travel.
Yeah, you know what the thing about
I think he's working more in the home life a little bit.
You know what the thing about Leon and this show? The show seems to go better when Leon's not here. So I don't know why I pitch and moan about it when he's not here. You know.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. Get the poor guy in trouble here.
No. He knows we dislike him. Periscope, how does the O-line shape up this game? Who'll play where? Well,
it's the same five, same place.
It's going to
same time.
It's going to be Sam Young on the right tackle.
I think Sam played pretty good.
Davis. I think he played all right.
I got to give Sam credit. Sam Young at right tackle played okay for himself.
Yes, he did.
We got to get in a situation though because they're going to get same blitzes they got a week ago with the same five. They doubled, too many guys got doubled, and we had free blitzers. They have got to figure out, Bo, whether it's Pouncey making the calls, Cutler making the calls.
Yeah.
We got to figure out these blitzes, whether coming from the outside or up the middle.
Yeah.
Got to block them and give them a chance.
Yeah, no doubt.
Can't have 7 sacks.
You can't have guys running through. And look, granted, most of those sacks came late in the game.
Yeah, they did.
When you knew they were going to throw the football, and they were just kind of pinning their ears back and this and that. But still, you got to block guys. You got to be in the right position, and you can't let free blitzers come running through. Whenever they feel like it.
Well, I think Jesse Davis can play right guard in this game, but I think Jesse Davis, they believe his position is going to be a right tackle.
I think so. Team. I agree with you. I think he's a big, strong guy.
He'll be on that O-line next year.
Out there. He'll be on that. He'll be part of that offensive line. But that's another. It's funny. Here we are, Joe. We got 5 games left to go in this thing, and much like we've done for the last 2 or 3 years, you're still talking about how to put an offensive line together, how to get this thing.
I keep hearing about how easy it is to find guards.
Well, it's funny because I was doing a show the other day, and I think it was when James was here, and he's going, well, what do you think coming up? I go, well, look, if it's me, there are 2 things I'm looking for early. I know it was because someone asked in the question, do we draft a quarterback high in the draft next year, first or second round? I said, I don't know about first or second round. First or second round, I'd like to see a tight end and an offensive guard one way or another. He goes, oh, geez, you're going to draft a guard again? You want to draft a guard again? He goes, every time you always want to draft. Well, we haven't drafted a guard high in the draft. And what have we been bitching about every year for the last 3 years? Finding a guard that can step in and fill the hole successfully. Guys were bitching when they drafted Mike Pouncey as a center. Why did we draft a center? Well, look what he turned out to be.
Right. We, Bo, and I know it's not sexy. And by the way, there are certain teams and certain people that used to be in the league and are in the league now, starting with Jimmy Johnson, not big on drafting those big guys in the first round or second round.
I understand
but
that.
Bo, if there's a guy out there that can play right away, please take him.
Yep. You got to get somebody. You got to.
And it's not sexy on draft day.
No.
And it's not sexy the second day either.
No. You be that big draft show.
Like,
what draft show at the stadium.
Guard? Where's he from?
You got about 20,000 people in there waiting to see who the pick is, and you go, we picked so and so, a guard from Idaho that no one's ever heard of, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no. Everyone starts running out of the stadium.
They did it again.
There goes the draft day party.
Did it again. That'll have them all fired up.
Let me see. Frank Avedaball from Facebook. Jarvis was on with Joe this morning. Whatever we have to do, we need to do whatever we have to do to keep him. Jarvis is
unbelievable this morning, Bo.
Was he?
He brought his A game coming in. He was in the car. I don't know if he had a little coffee or something, but he was ready to go.
Yep.
And if you heard that, here's a guy, Bo, and I didn't know if he could do it, not having that contract.
Yep.
If he has been a man to his word, I'm going to play hard. I'm going to let this thing take care of itself. I believe if I'm good, it will be taken care of.
Yep.
And want to be here.
Yep.
Love playing for Adam Gase. I want everybody to know I'm not looking to get out of here.
Yep.
This is where I want to be.
Yep.
We got to just win games.
And they got to make a decision with him. And look, if it's me, I pay the guy. I pay the guy because I just think he's
not the problem on the team.
He's one of the motors that puts this offense in gear. I just think he's
the best young player
there are times when
you have on this team.
Times when he gets a little bit too, proactive. And look, that guy, I see him on the sideline every week, Joe. I never seen a guy get into a zone that he gets into. He gets into a dirty place. Where he's like glassed over. He's like, and so he gets out of control every now and then. But if I could have 10 Jarvis Landrys on my team, I'd take every one of them.
I totally agree. Maybe a little bigger, a little faster, maybe, but that guy, you can't. I don't know if you can put a value on all the things he means to that team. And he's a leader.
Yep. All right, Joe. Before we go, it's going to wrap it up for the day. Clemson, Miami tomorrow night. Charlotte, we were just there a couple weeks ago. Same stadium, same ballpark.
I got to give the same answer I gave this morning.
Yeah, I
not looking good.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Coming off the game last week.
Amon Richards out
now.
Yeah,
Richards out. Coming off the way they played last year. Yep.
You got to go with guys, two of your frontline guys, two of your best three receivers, knee injuries out.
Yep.
You're limited. You're putting so much pressure on the turnover chain on second.
But I'm going to go this way, Joe. I'm going to take Miami. If that defense can play the way they played against Notre Dame, if they can muster up that kind of energy and play the way they played against Notre Dame, I think got a chance to win that football game.
I hope you're right.
I hope I am too. I usually am not, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Hey, I got to tell you, it's great to see him in the conference championship.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
In the bigger picture. And by the way, how about the 20 or 25,000 Miami fans on the way there? They're going there. It's great to see.
Joe, the other thing about it is someone's asked me about it last night, and I said, the one thing about it is, I said, this team's probably a year ahead of where they expect them to be right now.
He didn't have a lot of depth on this team.
No, and they got a lot of young guys that are good players for them that are going to get better and better.
Great recruiting class coming, Bo, for December. Early signing.
That's going to do it for the Audible today. Joe Rose, Kim Bokamper.
Thanks, Bo.
No Leon.
Huh?
Trey, Jeff, Logan.
Things have been easy today.
I'm going to tell you what. You put the three Stooges on here, Trey, Jeff, and Logan, and it runs smooth. Smooth.
How about three amigos or something? That Stooges is tough. That's tough.
Look at Trey. Trey's getting all pissed off because I call him three Stooges.
Beating the bags over there.
He beating that bag. Can you turn that camera
By the
around,
way,
see Leon?
it's a good thing he's beating on those bags because he can't find a little lady to date, so it's good to have those bags too.
I think that bag has less wrinkles on it than the girl I saw him dating last time.
Oh.
You know that?
Oh.
And that's not.
Oh.
That's going to do it for the Audible. We'll see you again on Monday.
Good way to end it.